Keeping a healthy cash stack in the mid game feels impossible for some people. Luckily, Jagex continues to introduce so many bosses that can make you some good money. Zulrah is notoriously known as a money printer, alongside a big blue dragon which refuses to give me the pet. This boss not only offers good money to someone in the mid to late game, but teaches someone that's completely new to PvM some of the fundamental mechanics. But ultimately, this is one of those bosses that once you get comfortable with killing it, it becomes a super chill boss that you can grind. According to the OSRS wiki, each Zulrah kill on average yields around 147,000 GP in drops. That's before supply costs. If you push your speed and consistency further, you can hit around 3.5 million GP per hour and even more once you become a best in slot demon. Now that's just raw loot. After factoring your costs for supplies like food, potions and gear charges, your net will be lower, but if you do things right, you can still net well over 1 to 2 mil per hour even with a modest setup. And with the uniques, your profit can swing way higher. Zulrah has some juicy drops, with the main one being the Tanzanite Fang at 10 mil. There's also the Magic Fang and Serpentine Visage, which are both at around 4 mil. And you could get an Onyx which is 2.4 mil. You could get the mutagens, but these aren't sold, these are just so that you can change your Serp Helm's colour. An Elite Clue Scroll is a 1 in 75 chance, and then of course you have a chance to get the pet, which is 1 in 4,000. Before you even step foot in the swamp, there's a few things that you need to do. First, you're going to need to progress enough through the quest Regicide to the point where you reach Zalandra. This is the city used as your gateway to Zulrah. There's no strict must-have minimums when it comes to levels, but to be comfortable you want at least 70 defense, 80 range. You could do it lower, but at least 80 range is recommended. And then if you wanted to do a magic only setup, 85 range is recommended. And then of course you want 45 prayer for the protection prayers. Zulrah uses Venom, which is a stronger form of poison. It uses this from its range and magic attacks as well as the snakelings. Either bring an anti-venom plus or a serpentine helm. In terms of gear for range, you can use Black D'hide or Armadillo armor. For mage you can use Mystic or Arams, or if you have it, use Void. This is good for less switches. In terms of your weapons, you can use the Toxic Blowpipe, Kirill's crossbow or the Magic Shortbow imbued. For your magic weapon, you can use a Trident of the Swamp or Seas. If you have the money to, I would suggest to get a Ring of Suffering. This helps a lot with the snakelings. If you don't, just make sure to bring Ring of Recoils. And then you're also going to want to bring runes for Vengeance or Thralls. And then there's getting to Zulrah. This is fairly straightforward, but there are choices that can help time efficiency. The fastest way is to use a Zalandra teleport scroll, which you can buy from the GE. You could also use the fairy code ring BJS, but this does require 76 agility. And then you can also get the boat charter ship from Port Tyras. When it comes to the mechanics of Zulrah, this is the heart of the fight. Zulrah alternates between 3 main forms. The green form is the Serpentine ranged form. This is when Zulrah will use ranged attacks and sometimes magic attacks when it's on the Jad phase. This is where you should be using magic generally, unless you're going for like a Bofa only setup. The blue or Tanzanite form is the magic form. Here Zulrah is a bit annoying as it uses both magic and range, but I'd say the general consensus is to just pray magic and tank the range hits. Here you want to be using range. And then red Zulrah is the melee form. This is where it uses like a tail whip attack on you. You can't pray melee against this form, so it's more just like a dodging mechanic. The little snakelings will do little damage to you. They are summoned in many of the phases. Here the Ring of Recoil and the Ring of Suffering come in clutch. Zulrah will spawn little venom clouds around the little island, and as you could probably assume, you don't want to be standing in these. The final phase is the Jad phase, and I'd say this is probably the hardest thing about Zulrah, or at least where most people die a lot. In some of the phases, Zulrah switches between range and magic rapidly, a bit like Jad given the name, so if you've done Jad then you have a bit of experience here. You'll just need to switch your prayers accordingly, but again it's something you get used to. Now when it comes to Zulrah's rotations, it doesn't choose randomly. There are a handful of predefined rotations. Knowing the rotations is key to knowing where to stand, what to pray against and what gear to use. There's a whole Zulrah rotation map that you can look at if you have like a photogenic memory, but if you're like most people, you don't, and you're going to want to use the Zulrah plugin. At the very start of every fight, the Zulrah plugin map is going to show you 3 different starting rotations. Once you start, you click on the rotation that you're currently on and it will show you the entire rotation. You will get a bit of an idea of the rotations after a while, but I always still have this up like all the time. So this is what a full run would look like. The rotation I get might be different to the one that you get, bear that in mind, but it's just to give you an idea of how the whole run looks like. So just before boarding, you want to make sure that you pot up correctly. I already potted up at the bank, so I don't need to here. But yeah, you can pause the video and copy these tile markers, ground markers. They're pretty much the spots that you want to stand. instantly just go to this bottom left tile and start attacking. It won't attack you now, so you don't need to pray against anything. This is just some free hits. But then when it does change, you're going to want to make sure that you change to the right protection prayers. So this is the magic form. It doesn't actually attack straight away, so I didn't need to put it on straight away, but I have now. And then you can see on the right hand side, it's going to be telling me that it's going to be right in the middle, top middle, and where I need to stand, the little X. And that is going to be the range form. So I need to put my mage gear on, protect against range, and yeah, go from there. And then it changes again. It's changed to now the mage form. It's not attacking me straight away. I didn't actually need to put on this protection brush straight away. But there you go. Now it's starting to attack me, and you can see it does, you know, range sometimes mage, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. It doesn't really matter. And then it's going to its melee form. This is probably the easiest form, I'd say, especially when you're on tiles like this, because as you can see, it's not even actually hitting you, just standing still. You don't actually need to dodge it. I would always say to do your prayers first and then do the rotation thing on the right. Like, that's not very important. It's more so just to help you know where you are on the current stage. You won't really need to do this once you get used to Zulrah. It's just near the beginning. You'll start to get the pattern of things very quickly. You want to switch your prayers first, then maybe move your character to the correct tile so you don't get hit by poison or whatever. And then your rotation on the right hand side, or in any order that you want or feels most comfortable for you. And as you can see, the snakelings do some damage to you over time, so you want to make sure that you have enough food with you and maybe have some double eat food just in case Zulrah does like 2 range hits in a row when she's on the mage phase and you're not realizing. But yeah, as you can see, that was very quick, very simple. Here's a clip of the Jad phase. This might be a bit difficult at first, but if you protect against the opposite one that's currently coming at you, you'll dodge the attack most times. It might sound a bit confusing, but you'll get the timing once you do it more and more. In this example, I didn't bring the Book of the Dead or use thralls, any of that, because I was using a twin flame staff and wanted to use a fire attack on the standard spellbook, just so that it makes a bit more sense for also lower leveled players. In the clip that I didn't actually get a melee phase where I had to dodge it. It was pretty easy, I could just stand still, but this is what it looks like when you do have to dodge it. When you see its animation of like charging up the attack, that's when you want to make sure you move. You want to try not to get hit in the melee phase, as it does some decent damage and stuns you for a second or two, which is a bit annoying. With Zulrah, you want to stay calm under pressure. When you mess up a prayer or lag slightly or take a breath or anything, it's better to tank one small hit than die trying to overreact. The best of luck with the drops. I hope you get the Fang or the Visage or even the Pet. If you're tackling Zulrah because you don't have that much money, then you might enjoy the video on screen, where I talk about why 99% of players are broke in OSRS.